Some of the surviving boxes, painted boxes, are extremely expensive if you see them at an auction or in an antique shop. That's probably because, well, one, they're pretty, they're interesting, they're a different way of thinking about decorating a box, but also because they were considered, as far as I understand it, a utilitarian item. So the ones that survive and survive in pristine condition are pretty rare. And they're not terribly sophisticated. They're what might be called somewhat primitive. Think what shelves it's been sitting on since 1830 or 1840, what it saw. Yeah, that's always fun. But even better, we can make them ourselves. You need very minimal materials. If you've got a box, here's how to do it. I'm using paper mache because it's available and affordable. Have your box, put your base coat on, usually a light color, an off-white, a tan, a yellow ochre, or a Naples yellow, something very, very light. And then you want a nice hard finish on it. If you have a soft finish paint, if you're using an acrylic, you want a hard finish because when you put your next coat on, it's going to soak in and that won't work at all. In times past, people would be using an oil-based paint, so not a problem with that hard finish. So you paint that on, wait for it to dry, and then you put your paint out. I use a mixing board like this. Put a pile of dry color on, usually a sienna or an ochre, reds, browns, blue is nice. Make a well in that little mound of dry color, and then pour your vinegar mixture into it. Swirl it around, and the only tricky part in this whole process, getting the texture right on the slurry that you're going to make. Too thin, it'll bead and run off. Too thick, it'll be a solid color paint. So you've got to find that sort of happy medium in there. And then take a nice soft brush, paint it on. Don't wait for it to dry, because this is where you're going to start lifting off that color to reveal the color underneath. And that's what's going to make the design. And you can use all sorts of things to lift it off. You can use brushes, feathers, string, fingers, sponges, clay. Some people use corn cobs. You know, all sorts of combinations of textures that you can use to lift that color off. Okay, I've done that. I don't like it. I can take it all off again because I've got that nice hard finish underneath, so it lets you remove it and start over. So if you like finger painting as a kid, you'll love this one. Now, we're going to use some shellac to seal the ones that have dried. We've set them by the fire so they're nice and toasty. And this gets a little messy too. Okay, gonna get ready to put some shellac on this. It makes a nice hard finish. It dries really fast, that's another plus. So you do it really fast, and the fun part here is that it intensifies all the colors that you've put down. So you can really see the pattern starting to show up. You don't want to puddle it, you just want to get a nice even coat and then set it down to dry. Yeah, we've had classes at Venoge during the summer. We do about 3 or 4 classes, different subjects. But we've run a vinegar graining class before, and it's always successful because it's a simple process, and you leave walking out with a vinegar grain box that you've done yourself, and it looks just fine. This is one way to share what we've learned about period arts from the time period that we're concerned with, which is roughly 1805 to 1839. Venoge is an artifact itself. It's an antique. It's 1828, so it's got some age on it. And we like to fill it with work, reproduction work. We have a few original pieces, but reproduction work done by people that we know, that do fine work, that we can populate the house with items of the time and use them.